Hi guys, and welcome to another 7-minute lecture. The many inventions of the US military, that's what we're looking at today. The reason I wanted to do this video was because while many people have many different opinions about the military power of the United States, while many things they do is quite open for the rest of us to see, there is a layer that not a lot of us are aware of, and that is the role that the Pentagon plays in ushering in the next generation of technology. Noam Chomsky, one of the most prominent public intellectuals in the world, and arguably the most famous critic of American foreign policy, made a very interesting observation once. He said, look, the role of the military is really misunderstood. And we've got to remember that he's been in MIT for 70 years. So he knows what he's talking about, because MIT, for a large part of its existence, was funded almost completely by the Pentagon. And he said back during the Vietnam War, where he was the leading anti-war activist in the country, the Pentagon didn't really care about what he was doing, despite his MIT lab being one of the centers of the resistance. He even said it was almost like their position was, look, if you want to overthrow the country, that's your business. They didn't care. But what they did care about was creating the next phase of technology, the next phase of the high-tech economy. And if you look at many of the day-to-day inventions we use today, one would be surprised to note that a large part of it was created by the American military sector. In fact, the number of industries and sectors that function today which owe their origins entirely to this is quite staggering. It wouldn't be fair to say that this phenomenon is unique to the Americans, because even before the rise of American supremacy, there were leading military forces around the world who were contributing to this phenomenon, but the Americans have a sort of dominant role in this. If I can give you a pre-American example, if you, let's say, look at sanitary napkins, something that remains an important part of day-to-day life even today. That's entirely a military invention. It was created by the British to soak up blood in the battlefield, and they would then use it as bandages. And nurses working for the Red Cross at that time said, hey, this material is really good. We can use it for women who are menstruating. And that's how the entire thing came about. In a strictly American context, we have so much more. The internet is obviously the easy example, since all of us view that as an integral part of day-to-day civilian life now. I mean, this channel itself wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the wonders of the internet. And this was created by the Pentagon. They started research into what was called packet switching way back in the 1960s, which eventually became the foundation for creating the internet. So the reason we're all connected today, regardless of which country or continent or whatever we're from, is because of this. It's not just the high-tech stuff either. I've heard some people claim that the modern incarnation of the chewing gum was created by the US Army as well, even though ancient societies and all that had their own versions of chewing gum. It was in World War I that all the soldiers were equipped with the modern version to prevent dehydration and stuff like that. So even something as basic as that has a very militaristic origin. Another example of low-tech but highly popular inventions would be, let's say, the Ray-Ban Aviator sunglasses. It's one of the most iconic products in fashion even today, and it was originally created for American pilots. In the 1930s, aviation technology started making it possible for pilots to fly higher and higher, and the further they went up, the more protection their eyes needed from the rays of the sun. So the US Army Air Corps came up with a pair of sunglasses for the eyes of the pilots that would block or ban the rays of the sun. Hence the name Ray-Ban. This continues to be one of the most popular brands for sunglasses all over the world. But most of the people who wear them seem to be completely unaware of why or how they were created. You could say the same thing with bug spray, the basic concept of using a chemical spray to repel insects. American soldiers who were stationed in the South Pacific were falling prey to malaria, and the Pentagon knew that it had to do something to stop this, which eventually led to the creation of bug spray. Today, it's a household item, it's a camping item. One more example would be basic duct tape, which is used as both a stationary item and a home maintenance item today. That was originally used by the army to seal ammunition boxes. And today it essentially has endless applications for even ordinary people like you and I. Most of the important inventions are kind of high-tech though, although they might be used by civilians. One of my favorite examples is the microwave, something we all use for culinary purposes. A lot of people don't realize that the microwave being able to heat food was merely a coincidental discovery. The technology was originally created as radar technology to spot enemies who might be hiding. An American engineer called Percy Spencer noticed that the chocolate bar he had in his pocket melted, and that's when he realized, hey, maybe we can use this to start cooking. His first experiment was to make popcorn with it, and the idea worked, and the rest is history. We could go on and on with this. GPS technology that we use today for navigation. What else? The portable radio, which was so popular before mobile phones became a thing. Digital cameras, low light photography. There are just dozens of things that ordinary people like you and I use every day today, which was created by these guys. So the next time you think about the US military sector, particularly if you're someone who has a negative opinion of it, always remember that there are many things even you use in your lives today which you only have thanks to them. If it wasn't for the Pentagon, every sector from fashion to home maintenance, to transport, to photography, to entertainment, to education would all be that much poorer. And while we can have a problem with what they do in terms of US foreign policy, credit should be given where credit is due. And speaking of credit, if you like content like this, please don't forget to share and subscribe. Thank you, take care, and I'll see you soon.